Hey guys, it's Sarah, and I thought I would do a quick April wrap up. I know it's a little further into May than probably what I would like, but I wanted to just give you guys an idea of what I've been reading and what I've been loving at the moment. I read about 7 books in the month of April. The first book that I finished in the month of April was, if I keep looking down, it's because my journal is down here and that's where everything lives. The first book that I read in April was Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. This is the first book in a fantasy romance series. Follows a girl who is a princess, but she's the second born. She has always lived in the shadow of her sister, the firstborn, who's going to go and marry a king from a different land. Her sister was like raised to be this bride for this king, and when the king comes to collect his bride, he chooses our main character instead of the sister, and so she gets thrown into having to be a wife and, I don't know, a queen of a kingdom that she knows pretty much nothing about besides, some of the like stuff that her family has told her. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It kept me captivated. It was fun. It was fast. It was easy to read. I loved the vibes of The Witcher. Witcher is like one of my favorite worlds. I played the video game and watched the show, read the books, read some of the books, not all of them, but lots of Witcher vibes in that one and really enjoyed it. The next book that I actually read some One Piece. My boyfriend is into One Piece and got me into watching the live action, and I loved it so much that I wanted to read the manga. I've never really read manga before, a couple here or there, but never really into like a series, especially not one this large. So I picked up the first volume just to see if I would like it, loved it, and then I promptly read 5 volumes. So I am currently on volume 8. So I'm continuing to read them maybe like once a week. Very much enjoying that. We're also watching the anime. So just lots of One Piece in my life right now. I read volume 6 of One Piece in April as well. I then read Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. I don't know why it took me so long to read this. I knew I was going to love it. I just never picked it up. That's a lie. I did pick it up a couple of times, but I never stuck with it. I feel like I was never, quote, in the mood, but I powered through this last time and I really pretty much read it in one day. I feel like I read maybe 200 pages of it throughout the week, and then on the weekend I put that audiobook on and powered through it. I think took me like 8 hours, and that's all I did was read that book. It was so good. Really love it. If you really love dark and twisted worlds with characters that are morally gray, and there's a lot of religious talking in, maybe like religion isn't necessarily what you think or how it's being used, it's not being used the way you think. Anyway, loved that book, gave it 5 stars. I then picked up God in the Gumiho by Sophie Kim. This is a book that is written very similar to a K-drama, or at least that's how the author described it. Her writing style is really interesting because it does feel not script-like, but it definitely doesn't feel like you're connected to the characters. It feels like you're watching the characters on a TV show. Not that you can't connect with characters like that, because I feel like we obviously do when we watch TV, but not necessarily what I was looking for in a book. I made it about halfway through that one and DNF'd it. I definitely think if you are into K-dramas and Korean mythology and fantasy romance and maybe a little more like urban fantasy, I think that you would really love it. I didn't necessarily love the trope that was going on. It's kind of my least favorite trope. I just, couldn't connect to the characters. I think the writing was really good though. She had some really good lines. I really enjoyed the writing style. I just didn't fall in love with the story like I wanted to. Basically, this follows a god. He's like a trickster god, and he did something that got him kicked out of their land, like the god land, and he was sent to the mortal realm, and now he has to investigate crimes that, like, basically he started. Okay, let me explain better than that. He tried to do a coup against his brother and released a bunch of like demons, and then lost and wasn't successful in the coup. And so the demons went to the like mortal realm, and as punishment he has to basically collect them all, make sure he sends them back to their realm. And then we follow a girl who is a gumiho, which is like a creature that eats men's livers, and she kind of went on a spree back in the 1800s. She's kind of on break, but something happens where she has to work with him to kind of protect herself, so that way he isn't suspicious of her, basically. And they have a very hate to love, hate relationship. I read half the book and they might have been interested in each other, giving like side glances to each other, but they were not at all like interested chemistry wise, if that makes sense. Like it was all just internal thoughts. So yeah, anyway, I DNF'd that one, but I definitely would recommend if you're into fantasy, romance, urban fantasy style of a book. It was cute for what it was trying to do. Okay, the next book I read was Daggermouth. I was going to give a full synopsis on this book, and I was really trying my hardest. I'm really bad at synopsis, but I don't necessarily know if everybody wants to know what this book is about. I know that a lot of people say to go into it blind. It is a dystopian and it does follow multiple characters' point of views. It's kind of set up like a very classic dystopian where, you know, the elite are in their own city and then on the fringes are the people who are suffering because of that. Our main character is an assassin and she gets tasked with like going to assassinate someone, and then lots of stuff happens after that. This book was really interestingly written. I was not expecting the writing style when I picked it up. I really did enjoy the writing for this one. I didn't love the story. However, I can see why everybody loves it. Just didn't connect with the characters as much as I wanted to. I felt like the story beats were very similar to other stories I've read, and I don't know, something about this just didn't work for me. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. I really had high hopes for it. I thought it was going to be a 5, but unfortunately, that one was not for me. However, if you are into dystopian, I really do think that this will work for you, especially if you're looking for a romance that is, you know, on the spicy side and has a lot going on. Yeah, that was the books I read. I really enjoyed them. Overall, I had a pretty good reading month. I feel like I'm trying to read one book a month, I'm trying to read one book a week, and I feel like I'm pretty on track for that. And that is my reading wrap up. Please let me know if you've read any of these books below. Let me know what your favorite book of the month was. I think my favorite obviously was Empire of the Vampire. Can't go wrong with some J. Kristoff. So that is all I have for you today. I will see you in another video soon. I hope that you are doing well and have a good one and read more books. Bye.